My name's Julian Langworthy. I'm the senior winemaker and general manager for Knappstein Winery and Brewery in the Clare Valley. Our building and the brewery was established in 1878 and we've been making drinks on site ever since. The winery was incepted in 1969 and that's when a lot of our plantings and vineyards started. We focus on aromatic white styles, predominantly Riesling and a Gewürztraminer blend. And then what we think we do best in reds is aromatic, again, medium-bodied reds. So Cab Merlot, Shiraz and Enterprise single vineyard Cabernet. Knappstein is a spectacularly beautiful place to live and work. I've only been there 18 months or so now, so this represents the first vintage of wines I've produced. 2008, particularly good vintage. We've been very lucky in 2009 and had another cracker. I think the greatest thing about our region is we make quite moderate alcohol white wines. Our Rieslings are normally about 11.5 to 12% alcohol. They're beautiful food-friendly wines. They're very naturally made off dry-grown old vineyards, all hand-picked and hand-pruned. And what they are is a really unique experience of some of Australia's winemaking heritage, I guess. We've been doing very great Rieslings for a long time. And they're definitely some of the Australia's wines with the most personality and charm to me. It's the Knappstein Ackland Vineyard Riesling from 2008. This is from the Watervale region, which is the highest and coldest region within the Clare Valley. We have a philosophy with our super premium wines to sort of showcase what we think are the best sites. Single vineyard wines are, are challenging to make because you've only got, a sort of finite area to work from. You can't bring in fruit from other spots to, to add a little bit more fruitiness or something. So it's really a reflection of what is a great place and a year in time. So they're very honest, unique wines to make. That said, we can't release them every year because sometimes a certain vineyard, hence the name vineyard, might not perform. So, for example, 2008 we've got a beautiful Ackland Riesling. 2009 we've got an excellent release, but in 2007 we weren't able to release an Ackland Vineyard Riesling because the fruit didn't quite come up to the level we were expecting that year. I guess the hallmark of this wine is its amazing acid structure and minerality. We only make quite small volumes each year, around about 500 to 1,000 cases depending on the year. Most of it goes to high-end restaurants on the eastern seaboard, such as here in gorgeous Noosa or Sydney, sometimes Melbourne, and about another half goes into the UK to pretty much the same places. These are wines that age remarkably well, but at the moment this wine's been in bottle for about 10 months and as such is drinking beautifully at present. Generally good minerality, excellent length, structure and drive. They're just really interesting, beautiful, subtle wines, I guess, which is a very special sort of thing. We've got great, like the vineyard that this is from is all dry grown. Probably only crops at about 1 to 2 tonnes the acre, which is really low. Just gets really delicate, yet intensely flavoured wines. This is 12% alcohol. It just sort of sings with food. 10 AM on a Tuesday morning, I'm actually quite enjoying it. The toothpaste is washed off the teeth, although I'm a seasoned professional when it comes to tasting wine early in the morning. And yeah, it's a really interesting wine. We only make quite small amounts of this wine, so you don't see it in the big retailers or your big box outlets. It's a unique sort of wine that speaks very strongly about its place in the world and that year. I think that's the challenge, but also the charm of these kind of single vineyard wines. And yeah, just enjoy making them.
Yeah. Beautiful taste, oh yeah, your work.
But a little bit of alcohol consumption for a winemaker a day is all a good thing. There you go, big fella. So,
and what inspired your passion for the industry and for wine? How did you get into it?
I was born in Margaret River in Western Australia. My father works within the wine industry as he worked for the ag department, setting up a lot of the vineyards in Margaret River as an ornithologist, did a lot of research into grapevine pests and stuff, so I was in a vineyard from an early age. I went to university and studied marine biology and realised it wasn't all going diving and doing lots of good fishing and stuff. And
eating abalone,
Exactly. So I decided that was a much better hobby, and I moved to South Australia to study winemaking at what was then Roseworthy. And I've actually been in South Australia ever since. I've been there 10 years now. I've worked in France for a couple of those 10 years, but I've always come back to South Australia. Previously, for the last 5 years, I've been in Coonawarra, which is about 400 kilometres from Adelaide and about 400 kilometres from Melbourne, and it has a population of about 54. Not exactly an inspiring place when a 25-year-old winemaker moves there, and it's a little bit scary at the pub on a Friday night, but I embraced it and got by and really enjoyed it. Enjoyed the region. And then the move up to Clare came as a chance to be the senior winemaker for a great established wine brand. And yeah, sort of embraced that, and it's been a really good challenge and really interesting. We're lucky, we're only quite a medium-sized winery. We'll do about 1,000 tonnes of fruit in a year, about half white, half red. And one of our greatest strengths is lots of little batches, and for example, the hand-picked Riesling, which is the next wine we'll try, is one of our most important, one of our bigger volume wines, which none of our wines are particularly large in volume, but one of the ones we make more of. We've been doing this every vintage since 1974, and until about 2 weeks ago I had 32 batches in the winery, in little tanks of components that are potentially to make this wine. I only need 8 or 9, so it's that sort of strength of having the resources to be able to draw all these components together to make the one that looks the greatest. It's going to have the most appeal for hand-picked Riesling lovers.
Yes.
And it's a really nice thing to be able to do. You don't at Knappstein, you don't have to cut any corners. There's sufficient money to buy the right sort of oak that we need. We're not too pushed to cut costs and stuff. So it's really about doing the best you can do to make the greatest wines you can. So those other Rieslings that didn't quite make it to handpicked will go into some export blends for some of the the retail chains in the UK and the US. But we definitely keep what is the most appropriate and the best wines for us.
Is that the wine you're sort of most known for, do you think?
I'd imagine so. The hand-picked Riesling is probably our... the hand-picked Riesling and the Cab Merlot, I guess, would be our two hero wines, if you like. They're the ones we do the most of, and we're probably best known for. However, the Enterprise Cabernet, our single vineyard Cabernet, we've been doing that since the 70s as well, and it's a very well-known, well-regarded and exceptionally long-lived wine. In 2000 it won the world's best Cabernet at the London Wine Fair, and it's won accolades all over the world and all around the place. So I think it's the beauty of having quite a small, tight range. We really know what our focuses are and what we play to our strengths. While we do make some Chardonnay, we do make some Sauvignon Blanc, that's not really what we promote and what we're known for. What we do best is aromatic whites and well-structured medium-bodied reds. So in that regard, it's pretty focused, and we know what we want to play with. 2008 hand-picked Riesling. I guess the biggest difference between hand-picked Riesling and the single vineyard Riesling is this is a blend of regions throughout the Clare Valley. So Clare Valley is made into sub-regions from Armagh in the very south, comes up to an area called Leasingham, then into Watervale, moves up into Clare, and around there we have the Armagh, Skilly Valleys and also Polish Hill River. Watervale is where the heart of our Riesling vineyards are, at the Ackland vineyard. So this wine is made up of quite a lot of Watervale fruit. It also has Armagh fruit and Skilly Hills fruit and a little bit of fruit from Auburn in the south. It sort of combines together to make a more, with this wine we're looking for a more opulent fruit-driven wine. It still has beautiful Riesling acid, but it has a bit more richer brown limes, quite ripe citrus.
Yeah, you can taste the citrus more in this one than the previous.
And that's what we're looking for when we blend this wine. We're looking for something that's quite punchy and racy. It's still beautifully light, ethereal, sort of dancey wines with the lower alcohol and the nice natural acid structure. But this we're looking for a bit more fruit expression. So this is all about just expressing the vineyard as it is in the year, the Ackland, and it really shows minerality and structure, and that would be a wine that we'd enjoy an amazing amount in 10 years' time. Yeah. This one's all about having a bit more fruit expression, a bit more lift, and a bit more approachability at a young age, I guess.
roasting up in a